Good morning. Today is Friday, the 26th of February. I'm Adeline.
And I'm Zhijun.
Recently, NY5 held a number of workshops conducted by prominent Singaporean freelance journalist and writer Kirsten Han. Her writing has appeared in Al Jazeera English, The Guardian, The Diplomat, and Southeast Asia Globe, amongst many other publications.
For today's show, the NY5 team has managed to get an exclusive interview with her. Enjoy!
The last 2 weeks, the NY5 team took a little break from our usual meeting and video producing schedule and spent some time learning about journalism. We had invited writer and journalist Kirsten Han to come in for a sharing as well as a workshop. After 2 afternoons with her, we can say that she is someone who is very passionate about her work and an inspirational figure. Kirsten is a freelance journalist with a background in filming documentaries. Motivated to continue writing as a form of raising awareness for the underprivileged in Singapore, she is also the co-founder of We Believe in Second Chances, a non-profit group that helps the families of those sentenced to the death penalty. She has written for newspapers such as The Online Citizen, Al Jazeera English, and The Guardian, and is currently the Singapore stringer for DPA, a German press agency with offices in 100 countries all over the globe. We here at NY5 learned a great deal from her about writing profile articles and interviewing others, and the responsibilities that come with journalism. We have also learned about her dual work experience as a journalist and an activist. She shared her thoughts on what it takes to be a freelance writer, as well as what happens when people do not agree with your views. As part of the workshop, we will now screen an interview with Kirsten regarding her motivations to continue being an advocate for for the less regarded members of society in Singapore, such as domestic workers and construction workers.
I'm interested in people's stories, so I think it really is the ability to meet people. And I've met so many interesting people while being a journalist that I can't imagine doing anything else. Like, I've met families of death row inmates who have been through so much and are still being very strong, and that's very inspirational. I've met, migrant workers, domestic workers, all of whom have their own stories. I've been able to go to places like Mexico and Greece. In Mexico, I met families of people who had been killed or kidnapped in the drug wars. And in Greece, I met journalists who were occupying their workplace to protest against the government because of austerity. I realized that I liked that, being able to go out in the world. So that's what put me onto journalism. And there are many moments where I'm like, yeah, I feel like I'm doing the right thing. And often these moments tend to be after I've interviewed someone and it's a story that I feel is very important. Then, I walk away from that interview going, I'm so glad that I managed to do this, I'm so glad that anyone could write that story, but I'm so glad that I get the opportunity to do that. I guess the other day when I was telling my dad about, the case of Benjamin Lim, who died after he was interrogated and arrested, then released by the police. He died on the same day, most likely by suicide, and that raised a lot of questions about police procedure and how we treat minors in investigations. So I was telling my dad about that, and he just kind of out of nowhere said, well then why do you keep doing this? You just hear all these really depressing things all the time. Like death penalty, migrant workers being abused, 14-year-old boys dead. And he's like, what, his solution was like, why don't you just quit your job, then you don't need to hear these things all the time. Go find another job that, doesn't require you to be, up to your neck in all this kind of human rights problems and things. There is a sizable amount of people who are very thoughtful and who actually appreciate these articles, and they're like, oh, thank you for raising this story. They think about it, they're very concerned about the issue. Then there are people who are like, why does she just oppose the government all the time? Why is she always complaining about something or other? Why does she find a problem with everything? So it kind of ranges between people who are appreciative to people who are, well, if you don't like it, why don't you just leave Singapore? And then, towards insults and abuse. I think within the range of people who don't agree, when they're just outright abusive, you can leave that to one side. But I find it also somewhat important to engage the people who don't agree, because it could be that this is just something that I haven't thought about very much, or they have this particular point of view that could be valid, it would be good to engage. It doesn't mean that everyone who disagrees is a moron or is just wrong. Sometimes people have very valid concerns, and it's much easier to be able to address those concerns rather than to just dismiss them as being stupid. So there are people who are pro death penalty, who don't like that I'm anti death penalty, but they have very serious concerns. They're actually concerned about safety, and they're concerned about, but my children going out at night, we want Singapore to be safe. These are valid concerns. They're not like crazy people for being pro death penalty. They do genuinely feel that maybe the death penalty makes it safer for my children. So I think it's important to be able to engage on that and address that. Like, there's nothing wrong with wanting Singapore to be a safe place, but did you think that maybe the death penalty doesn't actually make Singapore much safer? And to get them to start thinking about it.
Often, literary arts and the beauty of the written word can be a voice to the voiceless, as seen in the To Kill a Mockingbird module, and how Kirsten will continue to raise awareness for the problems faced by members of the society left behind by the rapidly evolving times. You do not have to be extraordinary or particularly brilliant in a field to effect change on society. Rather, everyone has the ability to help others in some way or another, be it being kind or standing up in the face of injustice.
Thank you for the interesting feature.
The annual Life Skills Camp is just around the corner. NY5 has prepared a special feature for both the new Sec 1s and experienced other levels as to how Nanyang is the place to be for LSE.
Enjoy the video.
Resort of the Southern Seas, located at Bukit Timah, the place that cultivates you to become a respected member of society. Nestled between two picturesque MRT stations, this delightful destination is a discerning pick for the adventurous backpacker and A-lister alike. Perched high, overlooking tranquil waters and the Hwa Chong Hot Springs Resort, it showcases an unforgettable panoramic view of geographical terrain. Here, you can develop your passions and build unbreakable bonds of friendship. Our facilities include our 12-course buffets by international chefs with accompanying friendly services from our dedicated waiters and waitresses. Back at your romantically lit bedroom, you have a deluxe bed as big as the room itself. In our master suite, we can accommodate up to 35 people in our spacious opulent sleeping quarters. The facilities include a large-screen TV, 4 fans, and a chandelier. Our caring hotel staff knows when you are awake and will pop in at any hour to address any of your concerns. For example, room service, laundry services, and a morning call. In our resort, we offer an exciting alternative to the traditional bathroom experience. The new high-tech and high-mobility scoop and pail system is also environmentally friendly. The resort offers exciting activities such as an infinity pool, complimentary Wi-Fi, air-conditioned meeting rooms, and a 24-hour gym. As the sun sets, exciting nightlife awaits! We have an internationally renowned bar, Bar Heart Chic, world-class cinemas for late-night movie screenings, and a dazzling performance by none other than yours truly. An experience like no other, Resort of the Southern Seas aims to leave you with sun-kissed skin, fond memories, and a golden smile. We welcome you in Term 1 Week 10 to join us here at our resort.
And that concludes our show for today. If you have any comments or feedback, check out our Twitter at NY5NYGH and like our Facebook page at facebook.com/NY5NYGH. To rewatch this episode, you can find today's show on Nanyang Girls High School's YouTube channel.
This has been an NY5 production. I am Adeline.
And I'm Zhijun. Thank you and goodbye.